England in the early 1980s. An exclusive girls' boarding school is home to American teenager Elizabeth Haysom.
Then back to his place.
Elizabeth was very British in her upbringing. It was not a typical American way of raising children.
Elizabeth has been at boarding school since the age of 8, only seeing her globe-trotting parents a few times a year.
The girls at the school became her sisters and her family.
Elizabeth is a straight-A student who plans to study the arts at Cambridge University. But her parents, Derek and Nancy,
How could you do this to me?
have other ideas.
It's for your own good, Elizabeth.
I don't want to do maths.
You're tough.
Elizabeth's parents decided to put her on a track of high-level science and math classes so that she could become an engineer, just like her father was.
I don't want to do engineering.
You better get interested, or you won't be going to Cambridge.
You are ruining everything.
She wanted to do what she wanted to do, not what her parents wanted her to do.
I hate you.
Elizabeth drops out of school.
She started failing in everything she did.
Oh, thank you.
Her dreams of going to Cambridge University were doomed.
What about me, girls? I'm feeling kind of left out.
She runs away to Europe, plunging into an orgy of sex and drugs.
Kiss me first.
She and another girl ended up in Germany, where Elizabeth spent weeks on the street, living from hand to mouth.
She blames her parents for her downfall. But being destitute, Elizabeth is forced to return home.
There was something very deep-seated and disturbing in the relationship between Elizabeth and her parents.
I'm home.
In Lynchburg, Virginia, once again, Elizabeth is under her parents' roof and control.
How dare you do this to yourself?
You did this to me.
Who sent you to the best schools, Elizabeth?
Elizabeth's hatred for her parents was way over the top. It became an obsession.
Now you clean yourself up. You fix that ridiculous hair.
She wrote 39 pages in one diary about how much she hated them.
Now get out of my sight.
So you've been all over Europe.
Yes, I've been around.
Her parents convince Elizabeth to straighten up and resume her studies at the University of Virginia,
In Thailand?
where she meets 18-year-old Jens Soring.
Do you need a refill of your glass?
Well, that would be lovely.
Jens was the son of a German diplomat. His life had been very secluded. And Elizabeth was a sophisticated young woman who had a lot more worldly experience than Jens, and she was a little older. He naturally fell into her spell.
My father is such a bastard.
It's so wrong what they did.
Naive and inexperienced, Jens is easy prey.
She had one thing to offer Jens that he never had before, and that was sex. I think she really turned it on with Jens and entrapped him.
Jens, you have to help me do something.
I'll do anything for you.
Jens thinks he's found the perfect lover. Elizabeth has found the perfect weapon.
What stood out for me was the pure cold-bloodedness that Elizabeth exhibited when she started grooming Jens for this crime.
20-year-old Elizabeth Haysom has argued with her parents for years.
I hate you.
Finally, she seems to settle down. But in truth, something is brewing underneath. She shares her deepest feelings with her lover, 18-year-old Jens Soring. They're no ordinary love letters.
She started talking about murdering her parents, from general terms to specific terms, to eventually an ultimatum. I hate my parents. I want you to kill them, or the relationship is over.
Lynchburg, Virginia, March 29th, 1985. Elizabeth buys 2 tickets to the movies, but goes alone, settling in for a night of entertainment.
Well, look who's dropped by.
It's the geeky ninja.
What's that for?
Jens goes to his own horror show. It starts with an innocent meal.
Derek was not too happy to see Jens there because Derek did not care much for Jens, but they let him in.
So what's with you and my daughter? Well, we're sort of in a relationship.
Mr. Haysom was bitterly opposed to that relationship.
There's no way you are in a relationship with my daughter.
Jens freaked out.
You really are an asshole.
Jens whipped out this knife and started to work on Derek.
Ms. Haysom, she ran into the kitchen.
It was a hell of a fight. There were a lot of bruising, there was a lot of slashing.
Killing in cold blood isn't easy.
Her father refused to die. He fought like a big bear.
After multiple stab wounds, Jens thinks Derek is dead and turns on his wife.
He cut his throat so severely that he almost decapitated her.
But Derek is still alive.
Mr. Haysom, he staggered back through the house and was trying to make it to the front door. Mr. Haysom had been stabbed 36 times, his throat cut from ear to ear, and Ms. Haysom had been stabbed 6 or 7 times, and her throat also was cut from ear to ear. Never seen anyone commit those heinous acts on another person. It was vicious. It was horrendous.
Are they dead?
Elizabeth obviously had a great deal of influence over Jens. She gave him an ultimatum to kill her parents, and he did.
The young killers flee to Elizabeth's old stomping ground, London, living off a fraud scam.
Let's eat. I'm starving.
In the UK, they worked out this scheme where they would buy goods or merchandise in a prominent department store.
That's good.
You think?
And they would pay for it initially with a bad check, and then they go to another department store and get cash for it.
Who could that be? Hello? Can I help you?
Hello?
Their crimes eventually bring British police to their door.
Jens was standing there and he had on this fake mustache.
What's the problem, officer?
And the detective couldn't resist, and he went over there and he looked at him and he looked at him and he grabbed the mustache and he ripped it off. And I think at that point, Jens kind of collapsed.
So what's going on there?
A search of their belongings finds letters.
One of the things I'll never understand is that Elizabeth and Jens failed to destroy these very incriminating letters.
The letters led the detective constable to believe that the two of them had been involved in a murder somewhere in the United States.
The work of a diligent Bobby finds its way to Virginian police, who matched the letters to the murders of the Haysoms.
If it hadn't have been for the detective constables from the Metropolitan Police in London, we never would have arrested either one of them.
Jens Soring is convicted on 2 counts of murder. He receives 2 life sentences. In August 1987, Elizabeth Haysom pleads guilty to being an accessory to her parents' murders. She is also serving life. Elizabeth receives the best education money can buy, but never learns the most important lesson of all: love. Not for her boyfriend or her parents.
I think she is a psychopath who can be very charming at one point, but she has a sinister background.
Elizabeth wasn't just angry at her parents. Elizabeth deeply resented her parents, was unable to walk away from them, and wanted to destroy them. Probably because she blamed them for not accomplishing her goals.
Just sit there and act like nothing has happened.
A woman used to control is hard to stop.
This is the kind of person that will not let anyone get away with anything that she doesn't want.
Oh, yeah, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do, hey? What are you
Being the boss can be all important.
She saw what she wanted, and she made it happen.
In California, 2002, the town of Clovis is a peaceful haven.
Clovis is generally known as being a quiet community, quiet, kind of an upscale neighborhood.
An ideal place for Tim and Larissa Schuster to raise their children.
They were married for about 20 years. For a lot of people, they seemed like a pretty normal couple.
Make sure you serve those potatoes evenly. I want my full share.
Affluent and successful, the family's good fortune is due to its strong leader, Larissa.
You kids want crackling or not? Right.
Say grace.
Larissa grew up in Missouri, and she was a hard worker. She excelled in high school, academically, athletically, and was a very ambitious woman.
The couple work together, but it's biochemist Larissa who calls the shots.
Now this is what I'm talking about. Steve, come and have a look.
Really?
She builds up a $1 million research laboratory.
This is what we're aiming for.
Pretty strong-willed woman who really commanded the respect from a lot of people in her industry. She was basically running the business, and Tim was the accountant, part-time.
Larissa makes her career out of chemical reactions, and no one gets in her way.
She's a take-charge person. She's a type of person who sees what she wants and makes it happen, gets it done.
Wow. Well done, Larissa.
Will you try and find some more like this?
Yeah, sure.
But her experiments don't stay in the lab. Larissa chases a different type of chemistry through illicit affairs.
There were marital problems and intimacy issues. Larissa had gone outside of their relationship.
Larissa is so confident, she brags to her friends at the local beauty parlor.
I mean, after I told him, he just acted like nothing had happened. I mean, what sort of man doesn't care if his wife is cheating on him? He's like a nothing of a human being.
It's like half a man.
Long-suffering husband, Tim, is used to the humiliation.
Larissa Schuster was a bully. She bullied her husband.
You're gonna just sit there and act like nothing has happened.
Behind closed doors, the family is at each other's throats. Their teenage daughter is powerless.
Like you care that your wife has had an affair.
Do you really think I want to hear this?
Their entire relationship was based around Larissa running the show.
I want my daughter to know what sort of pathetic man she has for a father.
That's enough, Larissa.
She was very controlling. She was very violent towards Tim.
What if I do this? What's he gonna do next, huh?
Neighbors would say that they could hear Larissa yelling.
I said stop that!
Stop it!
Crazy.
Things just got worse and worse.
I hate you!
The family is falling apart. Larissa sends her unhappy daughter out of the state.
Not knowing what to do with Kristen, they actually shipped her off to Missouri to live with her grandparents.
Look at you. Pathetic.
With her marriage on the rocks, Larissa confides in her beautician.
I just wish I could finish the job and get rid of him completely. Oh, I just wish he was dead.
Just joking, you don't mean that.
Larissa's manicurist said that Larissa looked at her with a very serious face and said, "I wish Tim was dead."
I'm serious. I wish Tim was dead.
Not in a joking manner. Her manicurist tried to play it off and said, "You know, you're just joking. You don't really mean that." And she looked at her and again, very seriously said, "No, I mean it. I wish Tim was dead."
And I know people that could make it happen.
Tim has no idea his wife is making lethal threats. He's busy packing his belongings. He's moving out.
When Tim decided to move out of the house, that was a big moment because it showed that he was no longer gonna do whatever Larissa told him to do.
Although Larissa is now free to pursue her affairs, she becomes obsessed with Tim's defiance.
This is the kind of person that will not let anyone get away with anything that she doesn't want.
Tim moves into his own place. As Larissa recruits an accomplice, loyal employee James Fagon.
Got another job for you.
It could be Larissa brought her minion into the murder plot because she really wanted the help. I don't think that was necessary. I think Larissa liked bossing people around.
First order of business, a midnight raid on Tim's condo.
That's enough.
She recruited James to go and vandalize the house, take back some of the things that she felt were rightfully hers.
But Larissa wants more than a handful of material goods.
She realized things weren't going to go her way, and so she decided to try to make them go her way.
She wants everything. In 2003, Clovis, California, 47-year-old biochemist Larissa Schuster runs a successful research laboratory.
Commanded a lot of authority and was ambitious, got things done.
What if I do this? What's he gonna do next?
But Larissa is also a control freak who belittles and beats her husband, Tim. He's moved out of the family home and is filing for a divorce.
Significant amount of money which was at stake between the business and the two homes, roughly over $1 million, which was potentially in question here.
I will destroy you, you pathetic little weasel. You're only
The way that she painted this picture of Tim was that he was the cause of the divorce, that he was a bad guy, that he was an evil person.
I will wipe you off the face of this earth.
That wasn't the case. Everybody else said the exact opposite, that Larissa was the problem. She was the mean one, the evil one, and Tim was really a victim in this relationship.
You're only half a man now. Soon there'll be nothing left.
And eventually, she thought nothing of Tim.
Larissa's rage is white hot because she is about to lose half her fortune in a divorce settlement.
She didn't want to share any of what they had earned together in the 20 years of marriage. She wanted it all for herself. But moreover, she had come to hate her husband.
She wants to teach Tim a lesson. A chemistry major, Larissa knows exactly what to do.
She'd gone online and done research regarding acid tissue digestion and digestion of animal tissue. She ordered an extremely large amount of acid, much more than would be used by her lab over the course of a year or more. She also ordered a blue barrel.
Her loyal employee, 24-year-old James Fagon, is convinced to help again.
James maybe saw Larissa as perhaps a bit of a motherly figure and someone who kind of took control of things.
On the evening of July 9th, 2003, Larissa is ready.
Larissa calls Tim on his cell phone and says, hey, you need to come to the front door.
I need you to come outside.
And James, who is hiding, jumps out and tries to knock him out with a stun gun.
James said that he was struggling with Tim, and then all of a sudden, Tim just stopped moving. He looked up and saw that Larissa had the rags, which were soaked in the chloroform, up next to Tim's mouth.
45-year-old Tim Schuster has spoken his last words, but this is not his last memory.
James said that Tim was still making noises, so it's obvious that he was breathing in some way at that point. Two of them placed Tim inside the barrel. Once he was inside, they stood it upright with his feet sticking out of the barrel. And Larissa grabbed several bottles of acid and began pouring them into the barrel.
Tim's wife is dissolving their marriage, literally, while her husband is still alive.
While their son's asleep upstairs, she's pouring acid over her estranged husband inside the garage.
They plan to seal Tim's body in the barrel.
What are we gonna do about the feet?
But it doesn't quite fit.
Don't worry, I'll take care of that.
She took a saw and sawed the back of the feet so that she could push the feet down, partially severing them so that she could fit the lid back on the barrel and seal it back up.
I believe Larissa is capable of killing anyone that crossed her. It wasn't necessary to kill her husband. She wants it all.
But Larissa hasn't thought this through. Although she doesn't love her husband, many others do, and they miss him immediately.
So many people loved him and cared for him, and in her arrogance, she didn't believe that anybody else would care for Tim if he was missing.
Furthermore, Tim's friends insist he has only one enemy.
A number of people that told us about how much Larissa hated Tim and how many times she had said she wanted him dead. So we started focusing our investigation more in that direction.
When they search the family garage, the barrel with the strong odor is soon discovered.
Inside, they found the remains of Tim. Everything above probably mid-waist had been dissolved, and there was just a liquid, sludgy substance that was at the bottom of this barrel.
Larissa and James are arrested for first-degree murder. Both are found guilty and sentenced to life without the possibility of parole. Larissa Schuster is currently in California's Chowchilla prison.
Larissa murdered her husband, Tim, out of greed.
A brilliant scientist and businesswoman, has it all, but she lacks the most important qualification in life, a loving heart.
I don't believe Larissa was one bit remorseful for killing Tim. I believe the only thing that she was remorseful for was for not being smart enough to avoid being caught.
The sleepy suburb of Coral Springs, Florida, 1995.
Bless us, O Lord, and these your gifts, which we're about to receive from your bounty. Amen.
Oh, this looks delicious.
Nikki Reynolds is a wholesome, happy teenager.
Now, a bit later, I'll be going to church.
Adored by her parents, Robert and Billie Jean.
Brownies for that bake sale. You're going to help me, aren't you?
Yep, and eat the chocolate.
Oh, not too much.
Nikki had been adopted when she was just a few months old, and the Reynolds were absolutely delighted to get her.
Church. Help me say this. Choir practice last night. You two girls, incredible.
She excels in school
It feels so good to sing at home.
and is deeply committed to her faith.
Well, how about a little tune right now?
Oh, no, Dad, don't be silly.
Of course we can.
Come on.
You had this all-American girl who goes through her life being like a really good kid, really well-behaved, loved in church, loved in school.
Peace on earth and mercy mild, God and
But soon, Nikki strays from the righteous path. Her worship turns from God to guys.
She met a guy at high school. She fell in love. And she got pretty obsessed with this kid, Carlos.
Nikki enters a new world of seduction and sex.
She felt like she was really in love with him, had based her whole life around him.
This isn't typical teen infatuation. Nikki has problems that run deep.
Borderline personality disorder is a very complex group of behaviors, mostly characterized by the inability to handle any kind of rejection.
No, I can't make it tomorrow.
Well, why not?
Stuff to do.
Are you breaking up with me again?
No, baby, just calm
Like many
down.
teenagers,
Tell me to
Carlos
calm
doesn't
down.
want to get too serious.
Is there someone else?
No.
When he threatens to dump Nikki, she sets a trap.
What? What is it?
I think I'm pregnant. I don't know.
Whenever they would break up, she would come back with a story, well, guess what, I'm pregnant.
You're not lying to me again, right?
No! Carlos, I love you.
He had told her at some point that if she was pregnant, he would never dump her, that he would stand by her. Then it would transpire that she wasn't, and he would fall off the scene again.
Nikki's borderline personality disorder is taking over her life.
I don't want to see him!
Too bad you're going.
She started becoming moody.
Nikki, the pastor can help you.
She started arguing with her mother, with whom she'd always been close.
Please, Nikki, there's something terribly wrong.
Yes, there's something wrong. My fat-ass mother won't let go.
Nobody really realized things were as bad inside her head as they were.
Get your hands off me!
Carlos finally has enough of Nikki's antics
What an ugly bitch. She's
and
just
dumps her for another girl.
eyes. Surely you can do better than that!
Get over it!
Her image is everything, and anything that made her look bad, in her case, maybe not having a man on her arm, having been rejected by her boyfriend, was intolerable.
Her parents have had enough too, and arrange to see the school counselor.
What are you doing here?
Just calm down.
So what are you talking about with her?
We're trying to help you. You've got to stop lying.
I am pregnant, Mom. I'm not lying this time. You've got to stop interfering in my life. No! No!
We'll see you tomorrow morning at 10.
But Nikki has her own plans for the next morning.
When Nikki's world didn't go right, she way overreacted.
There's a storm brewing in the mind of teenager Nikki Reynolds.
Is there someone else? Is there?
No.
Dumped by her boyfriend, suffering from borderline personality disorder.
I can tell when you're lying!
Her mood swings are out of control. May 1997. Coral Springs, Florida.
I don't want you to take me. I want to go by myself.
Too bad.
Concerned about her behavior,
But I have to
Nikki's parents are seeking help.
To meet your friends because we're going to see the counselor.
I'll go by myself.
No!
But Nikki has other plans.
Nikki wanted to murder her boyfriend, to kill him with a knife, because she wanted people to see how hurt she was by what he had done.
But why can't we go another day?
I said I'm going to drive you into school tomorrow, and that's final.
Now Nikki's parents are in the way.
Nikki's solution to this problem was to murder her parents that night.
I'm off to the church now, honey.
All right, sweetie, I'll see you later tonight, all right?
Mother and daughter are alone.
She was thinking, I'm going to kill my mom and dad, and then I'll have a clear run in the morning. I can drive to school, kill him, and there didn't seem to really be a plan after that.
Nikki was in the kitchen doing dishes. She reached in and she grabbed a large butcher knife. She checked the knife to see if it was sharp enough. She believed it was. She walked up behind her mother. As she drew the knife across the throat, she realized the knife wasn't sharp enough to cut deep enough.
Billie Jean is just pleading for her life. It must have been absolutely terrifying. You're in your own home with the daughter that you've nurtured since she was a couple of months old. This girl had completely turned on her. She's telling Nikki that she loves her, telling her that she needs help, begging her to stop.
Are you dying?
Her mother said, yes, Nikki, the life is going out of me, but you'll still go to heaven. She placed the knife in her 2 more times, and her mother was motionless.
But murder isn't as easy as Nikki hopes. And she's only a third of the way through her plan.
She was going to clean up and hide her mother, and then wait for her father to come home, and she was going to ambush him as he came through the door.
But Nikki has lost her will.
Nikki realized it had been too difficult emotionally, and she was not going to be able to kill her father. She gave up and called the police.
I just killed my mother. This is too crazy.
Sergeant Paul Firm is one of the first at the scene.
She was crying. She had a T-shirt on, a pair of shorts, and there was a lot of blood on her legs, her arms and her hands.
The exhausted girl immediately confesses.
Get your hands up!
We didn't even have to question her. She started at the beginning of what, and just went right through all the facts in very, very detailed account. It was chilling.
What starts as a war against her lover destroys her family.
Nikki had one singular motivation. It was to stop the pain that she was feeling because Carlos dumped her.
In her trial, Nikki pleads not guilty on the grounds of insanity.
No one ever disputed that Nikki Reynolds had serious psychological problems. The question really became was she insane at the time of the murder? Did she understand what she was doing, and did she know right from wrong?
The jury decides she does. In 2001, Nikki Reynolds is sentenced to 21 years behind bars for second-degree murder.
I hope Nikki gets lots of effective psychotherapy in prison. She's going to need it to deal with what she did to her mother, and she's going to need it if she has any chance of being safe among us in the future.